How's it going? It is Mythos, and today we're taking a look at My Haunted Project because they've not long took over a place near Pendle Hill, the site of one of the world's most famous witch trials. It's a very interesting place and they popped up as recommended again, and it's been a while, so I thought, why not check them out? You can check them out as well if you want. You can get some history from the place from Simon, who's featured in the video. He's great at telling old haunted tales and history. So as you can see, they're in this lovely looking farmhouse, and apparently they've had some crazy paranormal activity over the past few weeks there.
Pendle, the last few weeks, has been nothing short of incredible. Some of the stuff that's happened here has been beyond what I've saw for a long time. We've had footsteps, we've had the sound of heavy items moving here, we've had guests quite literally freaking out, but to top it all off, we may have captured not only our first name, but an apparition. Oh, it said Cynthia, right?
No, it didn't. You fucked me.
So we had two guests in the Pendle room and they were asking if there was a little boy here, and they had a few indications this may be true. They then asked if he wanted to choose a book from the library, and lo and behold, we immediately hear these footsteps coming down the stairs in the library.
Hello, Mr. Ghost.
When we check this back, you see this almost waist-sized shadow just move right past the bookshelf as a noise happens.
Is this camera on?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, nah, I ain't seen nothing. I ain't seen nothing.
Wow. I mean, did you see that shadow figure? Incredible. These guys have got some damn good luck with ghosts, I tell you what. But, was it a ghost? Before we take a closer look at it, let's just listen again to what Dan just said.
We had two guests in the Pendle room and they were asking if there was a little boy here. They then asked if he wanted to choose a book from the library, and lo and behold, we immediately hear these footsteps coming down the stairs. The guests, needless to say, radioed us. I think their words were, "Come and save us."
Okay, so two guests in the Pendle room. The two guests asked if the ghost would choose a book from the library. They heard footsteps that they thought could have been coming from that way. Then the shadow appears. The guests radio the team to save them. Okay, so let's break that down. The team of guys weren't with the two guests because the guests had to radio the guys to come and save them. The two guests were in the Pendle room. Which one is that one? As you can see here, it looks like the main room of the house maybe, or at least it looks like a very hot spot where people chill out or investigate. And what can you see from the Pendle room? The library. As you can see, if you put these images side by side, you can see that that is the correct place. So the two guests then ask if the ghost can choose a book from the library, and they hear noises coming from over that direction. As you can see, I've done a layout of the place here. Obviously a very quick rough one, but if you compare this to the photos of the place, it looks pretty accurate. Just imagine the guests were stood here asking out for the ghost, and then they hear the footsteps which were over near the stairs here, or apparently coming down the stairs. Do you think they then looked through this door to see anything? Do you think maybe one of them was in front of the other and the one behind maybe had a camera or light on? All I think it is genuinely their own shadow. Maybe even a shadow from the room light, but it could have actually just been the two guests themselves, which I think it maybe is because of the movement of the light and the shadow. Them with their own light. Now, that is pretty funny when you think about it, but that actually does happen. When I've been to locations, I've actually shocked myself a little bit seeing shadows out the corner of my eye, but it was me waving my own camera and light around. That's why sometimes it's actually good just to go in night vision so you don't see these extra little things that is actually just you, what you're creating. But obviously then you're in the dark. But as you can see, if someone is stood there like my diagram and someone stood over here, they do cast a shadow that way, which probably could end up going into the library room. Do you think the guest looked in that room, seen the shadow move, maybe because of the guest behind them moved, and made her own shadow look like it was something in there moving, and then called the guys to come and save them? I think so. Let's take a closer look at the shadow figure again.
And they had a few indications this may be true.
Ooh, spooky! You can see it walk past the bookshelf. But wait a minute. You can also see it moving on the floor. It's quite hard to see, but when you speed it up, you can see it a little bit better. You can see it even more when you speed it up even more, and to me, it just looks like the light coming from the main Pendle room. Even more so, you can see the actual straight edge of the door frame along the floor from the light that's being cast in that room into this one. If you're struggling to see it though, because it is quite hard, let me just outline all of the light that we can see being cast into this room, which is even behind this big object on the left here. The light is going in and across the books, in and out of the dollhouse rooms there on top of that little shelf, proving to me that it's light casting into the room from that room. Maybe someone or something stood in front of it. It's not a ghost, but it damn sure makes for a better video if you call it one. Now, it would be interesting to see the footage of the guests in that room from when it happened and see what was going on there, because obviously the guys love their security cameras and they've got cameras all over the place. So maybe they could show us what was going on, but after the fact, you could probably bump different videos together. Of course, my idea is just a theory based off the evidence that we've seen on the video from the words that Dan, who spoke about it. It'd just be fun to see that footage to see if my theory was kind of close, because as Dan was saying, they were in that room investigating, so something was going on in that room. But either way, I don't think it's a ghost. So just a quick one there, guys. Not much really to look at and not much else to say on it. If you want to check out some more videos, you can click this one or this one, and I will see you in the next one.